Two incredible things today humiliated Anthony Albanese, showed he's been played for an absolute sucker by terrorists. One, the Hamas terrorist group praised him personally for saying he'll recognise a Palestinian state. And two, the man who's trusting to create this state is a raging Jew hater who, I can now reveal, wrote his PhD claiming Jewish leaders plotted with Adolf Hitler to slaughter millions of other Jews in World War II. Yes, really. The Holocaust was a Jewish plot. That is Albanese's partner for peace in the Middle East. Our Prime Minister really couldn't look more out of his depth. When Albanese announced on Monday that he'd recognised this non-existent Palestinian state, he denied claims by Israel that this would play right into the hands of Hamas, which had 1 week earlier boasted that recognition proved it was right to slaughter 1,200 Jews and take hostages on October 7, 2 years ago.
قبل 7 أكتوبر هل في دولة تجرأت على أن تعترف بدولة فلسطين؟
But Albanese said Hamas was wrong.
Hamas is a terrorist organisation. It has no role to play. And Hamas, I've seen some of the comments that have been made about Hamas somehow being rewarded. Hamas is opposed to two states. This is the opposite of what Hamas wants.
Yes, well, Albanese insisted that recognising Israel would somehow magically finish Hamas.
This is an opportunity to deliver self-determination for the people of Palestine in a way that isolates Hamas, disarms it and drives it out of the region.
But funny thing, Albanese has never once explained since then why and how Hamas would magically give up its guns, give up its power, especially when Palestinian polls show Hamas is actually the most popular party in Palestine. And now Hamas co-founder Sheikh Hassan Youssef has put the lie to Albanese's fantasies, today confirming the Australian Prime Minister was indeed doing exactly what Hamas wanted. Youssef was one of Hamas's most senior officials in the West Bank and said, "We welcome Australia's decision to recognise the State of Palestine and consider it an important step towards achieving justice for our people and securing their legitimate rights. This position reflects political courage. We call on all countries, especially those that believe in freedom and human dignity, to follow Australia's example." So, Albo, tell us again how you're not helping Hamas. By the way, helping Hamas, which talks about human dignity, yet beheads Jewish men and rapes Jewish women. Well, the opposition leader today said the bleeding obvious.
Now, Prime Minister, if you've got a listed terrorist organisation cheering on your foreign policy, it might be time to admit that you got it wrong.
For Hamas to today directly contradict the Prime Minister, to say his plan is exactly what it does want, is devastating enough. But truly pathetic is that Albanese is meanwhile banking everything on a crazy Jew hater. He's banking on the unbelievable promises of a corrupt Palestinian despot hated by his own people, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. Now, Abbas, who controls only the West Bank, Hamas runs Gaza, the other half of the Palestinian so-called state-to-be, is the man that Albanese rang earlier this month to consult on this state. He's also the man Albanese will meet at the UN next month to discuss how it'll work. And most importantly, this Palestinian Authority president is also the man Albanese said had made him the commitments he wanted as a condition of recognising this Palestinian state next month.
The Palestinian Authority has reaffirmed it recognises Israel's right to exist in peace and security. It has committed to demilitarise and to hold general elections. It has pledged to abolish the system of payments to the families of prisoners and martyrs.
And as you heard earlier, Abbas also promised that Albanese would stop Hamas from having any role in this new Palestinian state, which Albanese has since been parroting. It won't have a role, even though Palestinian Centre for Policy and Social Research has said that Hamas is actually the most popular party by far in Palestine And it's Abbas who should go. 81% of Palestinians want him to resign because he's so corrupt. Yet Albanese actually believed Abbas, an 89-year-old who hasn't held elections for 19 years, believed Abbas when Abbas said, oh, look, I'm going to hold them now. I'm going to clean up corruption in the Palestinian Authority. Oh, I'm going to stop paying pensions to relatives of Jew haters. All these are promises Abbas has broken before. But Albanese actually believed him. And now we can't say how it actually make Abbas follow through or stop Hamas from taking over. Again today, on that point, how can he stop Hamas taking over? More embarrassing blather.
Prime Minister, your conditions for Palestinian statehood require that Hamas lays down its weapons. How do you propose that is actually going to happen? How does anyone demilitarise Hamas?
The important thing is what the Arab League have said. The Arab League, the countries around the region, as well as the international community, have made it very clear. Hamas has no role. No role.
But how do you actually demilitarise Hamas?
The Arab League have made it very clear that Hamas must lay down its weapons. The international community have made it very clear that Hamas will have no role in a future Palestinian state.
And just back to your earlier answer, I just want to make it clear. So the way it's hoped Hamas is demilitarised is from diplomatic pressure from the Arab League. Is that the path?
Well, there's a range of paths, but we're not writing Middle East policy in a backyard here in Brisbane. You
can say Hamas shouldn't take over, but how will you stop it, Prime Minister? But let me get to the biggest sick joke here and tell you what's truly embarrassing about Albanese choosing that Mahmoud Abbas as his partner for peace, the guarantor against Hamas, and trusting him with his Palestinian state. Abbas, as I've said before, is a Jew hater, so crazy that 2 years ago he's defended Hitler, claiming the Nazi leader didn't kill 6 million Jews just because they were Jews, but in fact because of their social role involving usury, money and so on. Now, even madder is that Abbas, remember, Albanese's peace partner, wrote a PhD when he was studying in the Soviet Union called The Connection Between the Nazis and the Leaders of the Zionist Movement from 1933 to 1945. And this thesis is as sick as it sounds. In his thesis, this sick puppy Abbas claimed that Jewish leaders conspired with Hitler in the genocide of the Jews. He wrote Zionist emissaries were given free access to the concentration camps in order to find suitable people and abandon other unsuitable people who were not supposed to leave the concentration camps alive. Abbas also claimed that Zionists, not a Soviet submarine, sunk the Struma, which was a ship taking 600 Jews to Palestine, Jews that, according to this Abbas, were improper in the eyes of Zionists, had them, well, killed every one of them in 1942, every one but one. And this Abbas even claimed in his thesis that during World War II, the Zionists did not take an active part in the struggle against fascism, confirming a Jewish conspiracy. You know, they really were for Hitler. In fact, of course, 30,000 Jews from Eretz Israel, this is in Palestine at the time, enlisted in the military, British military, and more than 500,000 Jews joined the US Army. So this racist fruitcake, this Abbas, this is the man that Albanese trusts to create his Palestinian state, to defeat Hamas, to make peace with Israel? Are you kidding? So it's no wonder that Hamas is cheering Albanese. And to call Albanese stupid or naive barely covers how completely he's been played for a sucker.